morning, everyone. So, my name is Daisy Ann Numaran, and I am the first discussant. So, what is Philippine art? Philippine art, our historical background, makes the Filipino distinct from their neighbor. But the Philippine visual art has no singular aesthetic. So, this means that the Philippine art is not placed or doesn't have any single or just one art style. Philippine art history includes pre-colonial, Spanish colonial, American, and post-colonial war modernism, which saw the emergence of movements like social realism, expressionism, and cubism. What constitutes Philippine art? We cannot define it because you can't have a static answer to that. Philippine art expert Ramon N. Villegas said recently, adding that the Filipino-ness of an artwork cannot be determined solely by referring to the artist's name or decoding his strokes or his subjects. So this means na you cannot define an artwork by the artist's art style or the artist's name. Is there a Filipino soul? This insistence to create something relevant to one's nationality is not unique to the Philippines. Excuse me. Sometimes trying to find the Filipino in certain Philippine art is like trying to milk a cow when the cow isn't a cow after all. The question of Philippine art is a question of Philippine identity. Philippine identity. So what is Philippine identity? So, Filipino is a work in progress. So, it means na our work is progressive. So, it's not instantly, but there's a process. Next, Filipino as a product of cultural influences is especially skillful at taking these influences and making it their own. Excuse me. So Filipinos are very productive. So they easily adapt the art style or anything and eventually make their own from or inspired by that art style. So here is the brief timeline of Philippine art. Art form: painting, pre-colonial, body adornment or ornament. Spanish period from 1521 to 1898. American religious icon and ecclesiastical secular portraiture. American period genre paintings, landscape, still life, and portraits. Sculpture. Pre-colonial pottery, carving, and woodwork, expressions, jewelry, metal crafts. Spanish period 1521 to 1898. Santos furniture, reliefs, altar pieces, jewelry, metal work, ornamentation. Freestanding American period. Freestanding, relief, public. Architecture. Architecture pre-colonial. Dwellings and houses, shelters, worship areas, official residences or mosque. Spanish period. Church, plaza, complex, town, planning, fortifications, civic buildings, and installations, private residences, commercial structures, cemeteries, bridges, and lighthouse. American period. City plannings, parks, waterfront, civic government structures, public works, apartments, residences, offices, health and public education, and business. So, let's move on to the pre-colonial period. Pre-colonial period. It is a traditional art that has a religious symbols, day-to-day activities such as fishing, farming, or a specific decorative art pattern to the community. Either if influences by animistic, local religion, or Islam-based. So, pre-colonial period is an art that has religious symbols. It could be painting, weaving, or simply making structures. So, it could be symbols like a day-to-day activity, like fishing, farming, or specific decorative pattern to the community. It is either by animistic, local religion, or Islam based. When we say Islam based, it's like the Muslims like that. Next, sculpture. Sculpture is discovered in 1965. The Angono petroglyphs are believed to be the oldest known artworks in the Philippines. Dating to the 3rd millennium BC or before Christ, they are a collection of 127 figural carvings engraved on the wall of a shallow cave of volcanic tuff. The petroglyphs of Angono are among the oldest surviving examples rock engravings in Asia and are believed to be the oldest in the Philippines. Archaeological excavations of the site have yielded fragments of earthenware and obsidian flakes, which suggest the cave may have first been used sometime during the Neolithic period. The surviving carvings are a unique collection at this distant period of the Philippine history. So, pottery, carving on woodwork. Examples is the Mughal jar and Maitum jar. So, sculptures. So, in the pre-colonial period, they make sculptures as well. So, the examples of this is the Manunggal jar and Maitum jar. Next is the architecture. Houses were made of light materials like wood, bamboo, and nipa palm. Some of them built tree houses to protect themselves against their enemies, or from being attacked by wild animals. So, the next is after the sculpture, there we have the architecture. They built houses from wood, bamboo, and nipa palm. So the examples of these houses is the bahay kubo. Next is the weaving. An ancient art form would weave fibers such as abaca, pineapple, rami, maguey, cotton, and bark cloth. Virtually all attire was hand-woven. Examples include G-string, Maranao malong, bontok tapis, ilong na tadyong, tibuli, tinalak, and etc. So, after the architecture, we have the weaving. So, when we say weaving, it's like you weave like strings and you form them into a cloth. Examples of this is the malong and clothings of the tibuli. Next, unchanged art still existing. So the ochre motif is an artistic cultural heritage of the Maranaos of Lanao, Philippines. So unchanged art is still existing. So the past arts that were thought to the Filipinos is still existing today in today's world, in the modern world, but it's not that adapted anymore. Examples of this is the ochre or motif. It is an artistic cultural heritage of the Maranaos, Lanao, or Philippines. And that's all for my part. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Nova R. Allen. Today I'm going to discuss to you the the Philippine tea movements during the Spanish period, year 521 to 1898. So what is art during the Spanish period? Former arts such as sculpture, painting, and architecture are commonly Catholic-based arts. So what is it Catholic-based arts? During the Spaniards came to the Philippines, they have three goals. The 3G. The God, gold, and glory. Basically, they wanted to spread Christianity over the Philippines, even though that It's not their intention to come here in the Philippines. Now let us expound the arts during the Spanish period. First, we're going to talk about painting during the Spanish period. So what is painting during the Spanish period? It is commonly religious, iconic or celestial, secular, and portraiture. So why is it religious? Just like what I said earlier, that it is Catholic-based work of arts. So during the Spanish period, Catholic-based arts are being introduced by the Spaniards. Paintings such as saints, santos, and gods, commonly found in churches. So what is secular? Secular painting, these are the portraitures. Religious icons such as saints, gods, and the birth of Jesus Christ are being portrayed in the painting. And a celestial. So what is a celestial? So, a celestial painting during the Spanish era in the Philippines during the 16th to 19th centuries was primarily religious, serving as a tool for spreading Catholicism. So, why does it spread Catholicism? As you can see, it has the painting of Maria, okay, the mother of Jesus Christ. So, basically, to spread Catholicism. Logo itself came from the French word rocaille, which is referred to shell-covered rock work found in garden grottos. Next, we're going to talk about architecture during the Spanish period, Philippine cave movements. So what is architecture? When we talk about architecture, it comes to our mind such as infrastructure, such as buildings and big towers. But during the Spanish period, these are commonly the churches that are being built during the Spanish period. So what is architecture during the Spanish period? The plaza complex consists of an open space, usually rectangular or square in its shape, a chapel or church, a convent, a municipio or tribunal, marketplace, a cemetery, and residence around it. Its physical setup enabled Spaniards to effectively manage and control the natives and bring them closer to Catholicism. So during the Spanish period, they created pueblos, and the pueblos, they have in their churches. So create churches during the Spanish period. It is for the natives to bring closer to Catholicism. The Spaniards wanted the natives to turn into Catholicism from polytheism to monotheism. They wanted it is for the natives to come closer to Catholicism, just like what I said earlier, from polytheism to monotheism. The Spaniards wanted the natives to turn into Christianity. They didn't want them to stuck on being a polytheism and believing in gods. So that's why they create churches and chapels in the pueblos. So mostly chapels are being created in the pueblos, while the churches are in the municipio or the big cities. To spread Christianity all over the Philippines, they tend to paint Maria, the mother of Jesus Christ, and the portrait of Jesus Christ to let the people know who is or what is Christianity. So secular, these are mostly paintings of such faces or portraits. So they commonly paint such religious paintings like the face of Jesus Christ. Next, we're going to talk about the Byzantine painting style. Okay, Byzantine painting style is an artistic product of Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire, as well as the nations and states that inherited culturally from the Empire of Europe. So, when the Spaniards came to the Philippines, they brought the Byzantine style painting, which they introduced here in the Philippines. These are more Christian-based art. So, unlike the normal painting that is being introduced in the Christians, that is being introduced by the Christians, Byzantine painting are more Christianized based arts. Byzantine painting style are commonly found in churches. One example is the Byzantine pieces Langit Lupa at Inferno by Joseph Luciano Dans, inspired by the 11th to 12th century church of Panavia Porviotisa in Cyprus. Next, we're going to talk about sculpture during the Spanish period in the Philippine tea movement. So, what are the Christians? What are they trying to portray? They are portraying santos, furniture, altar pieces, jewelry, metalwork, and ornamentation. So, just like what I discussed earlier, that most arts during the Spanish period are mostly Christian-based arts. So, santos, they are portraying santos such as they are going to make santos sculptures like the Jesus Christ and Santo Niño and Mama Mary. Next is the Rococo art in the 18th century style. Rococo art is an 18th century art style that originated in Paris, characterized by lightness, elegance, elaborate ornamentation, a reaction against the more formal Baroque style. So, just like the Baroque style, it is formal, but here in Rococo art, they are more portraying nature, but they also portray, while portraying nature, they also portray the last topic, the Baroque style. During the Spanish colonial era, from 16th century to 18th century, Baroque style in the Philippines adapted European grandeur to local conditions, creating a unique earthquake Baroque with massive porches like churches, featuring immense buttress, ornate patay down to our last topic, the Baroque style during the Spanish period from the Philippine tea movement. So what is Baroque style during the Spanish period? During the Spanish colonial era from the 16th century to 18th centuries, Baroque style in the Philippines adapted European grandeur to local conditions, creating a unique earthquake Baroque. So during this time, they made churches that are earthquake resistant. So can you see can you imagine the church from the Albay? So that church is it is a earthquake resistant church, which is there are many earthquakes that came in there, but the church still stands. With massive porches like churches featuring immense buttress, ornate facades, dramatic lighting, and local motifs like indigenous flora with Chinese Gaudian lions, blending Spanish design with Filipino resilience to withstand earthquakes and pirate raids, seen in UNESCO sites like Poy and Migao and San Agustin Church. That will all be my report, and thank you very much.
Greetings of peace, everyone. So tonight I'll be discussing 5 topics from the art history of Philippine art movement, which are Baroque style, art during American period, architecture, Philippine modern art, Philippine contemporary art, and as well as the 2 Filipino art style that developed through Spanish period. But first, I'll be tackling Baroque style. So what is Baroque style? Baroque style is a lavish, dramatic European style in art, architecture, music, and literature from roughly 1,600 to 750 years ago, known for its ornate detail, grandeur movement, and emotional intensity, originating in Rome as a way for the Catholic Church to inspire awe and faith during the Counter-Reformation. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, Baroque is a unique architectural style as well from the Spanish colonial era, blending European Baroque grandeur with local materials. Some examples of these are Baroque earthquake, which is shown in our PPT. Next is the American period. So during the American period, most of the art here in Philippines is more on educational and value formation. And some of its art illustrations, advertising, and commercial designs, as well as painting. And it also happened to develop. It is also where Art Nouveau is being developed. So what is Art Nouveau? Art Nouveau is a style of decorative art, architecture, and design prominent in Western Europe and the US from about 1890 until World War I, and characterized by intricate linear designs and flowing curves based on natural forms. Next is the architecture. So during the American period. City plannings, parks, waterfront, civic government structure, public works apartments, residence, offices, health and public education, business, and more are also prominent in this period. And moving on to the Philippine modern art, which developed during 1946 to 1970. So, the study of determining what is Philippine contemporary art period is still being determined since the word has been used loosely even during the American colonial period. However, some Philippine art historians or critic has always been a follower of a Western art style and its trends at that point, and thus suggested that this was actually the point where Philippine modern art period started, but went only full swing after the war. And this is set by the creation of the Art Association of the Philippines, or AAP, that in a way has a strong leaning with the modernists than the conservatives, or which we call the traditional art, also termed as the Armosolo or Amosolo style school. Amorsolo school. Next is the Philippine contemporary art. Present during 1980s, it was onset of the sudden use of personal computers and new technology created a new medium for the arts and human expressions. But there were also countless revivals of old styles being done. This started a new directions for the arts, thus setting the name momentarily the Philippine contemporary period. Last to be tackled is the two Filipino art styles that developed through Spanish period. So the first one is miniaturismo. So what is miniaturismo? It is an art style that pays attention to the embroidery and texture of the costume, portrait of Romano. So one of the example here is the portrait of Romano Carrillo by Justiniano Asuncion. So from the word embroidery is a decorative art that uses stitching as its medium or its materials. The next one is letras y figuras. So in letras y figuras, art style that uses letters with figures in everyday activity amidst a common background, usually used in a painting. A patron's full name, Chito Sumiral. So, in Letras y Figuras, the main focus here is letters or fusing. When we say fusing, combining letters with figures of everyday activity. So, one of the example here is the Chito Sumiral, a painting of a patron's full name, Chito Sumiral. So that's all for my part. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. So my name is Marisol Fantes, and I am one of the reporter of Group 5. So today I will be discussing the key art movements found in the Philippines. These movements range from Baroque to pop art, and most of them actually came from Western culture. So art movements are styles that shape the way artists create, usually based on a common philosophy or goal. These movements also emerge because of the social climate of the time or as reactions to previous art styles. So first, let's talk about Baroque. So Baroque is an art movement that started in Europe during the 17th and 18th centuries. So nagsugo daw ni siya to 17th and 18th centuries, no? And it is also known for its extravagant imagery, dramatic scenes, and heavy decoration. And during the Spanish colonial period, the Philippines adopted this style. So during the autumn
Spanish colonial period no kay kanang di ani na daw nag-emerge ang ani nga style sa Philippines. So which is why many old churches karon like kanang mga sa mga Catholic churches kay naay mga detailed and mga ornamental nga same sa Baroque style. So next is Neoclassicism. So Neoclassicism came after Baroque at the start of the 19th century. This style goes back to the classical traditions of the Greeks and Romans. It focuses on symmetry, order, and simplicity. In the Philippines, this movement became prominent during in the American period. So nagsugod daw ning Neoclassicism during atong prominent during the American period. So atong American period mostly nagsugod ning key movements nga style sa art diri sa Philippines atong during the American period, especially in government buildings and museum. Next is Romanticism. So, Romanticism is an art movement that emphasizes the senses and emotions. It often appeared as the reaction to the strict and serious methods of Neoclassicism. So, Romanticism became prominent in 19th century. So, nasikat daw ning Romanticism nga key movements diri sa Philippines kaya ato pang 19th century. And isa sa mga well-known nga Filipino artist ani is si Juan Luna. O ang iya daw mga works kay nag-include siya puday siya og touch of impressionism set aside from Romanticism which is very well known niya nga mga works diri sa Philippines. Next is Realism. So kaning realism kay nagsugod puday ni siya atong 19th century and it also represent the life of nature in ana dayos which and the life of reality like that, like what you saw, what you paint type of art key movements kanon. So it pushed the idea of naturalism I mean. So isa sa mga sikat nga Filipino artist ani is si Felipe Rojas and Fernando Amorsolo. So Amorsolo is especially famous for his bright and idealist depictions of rural life and nature. So isa daw sa mga work ni Amorsolo nga kanay touch of realism nga key movements kay ang isa sa iyang mga touch jud nga kuan kay is naaro siya sagol sa bright and idealist depictions of rural life and nature. So mostly sa iyang mga paintings, sa iyang mga works kay mga about jud siya sa nature ganon. Dahil ni sikat si Fernando Amorsolo diri sa Philippines sa mga works niya sa realism which is ang iyang mga works kay mostly related siya sa mga nature ganun, like kanang painting sa mga trees, sa mga lakes, falls ganun. And then last is Expressionism. So Expressionism became popular in the 20th century. So kanang Expressionism daw kay ning sikat daw ni siya ato pang 20th century. So this movement did not focus on realism. So wala doon ni siya nag-focus sa realism, like what you see, what you paint, ganun. Tapos naka-focus siya sa naturalism, dili daw nga ni ang expressionism or accurate representation. Instead, it used distortion, bold lights, and intense or dull colors, bright colors ba, ganun, to show different emotions. So isa sa famous Filipino artist kay si Kiokok. So mao ni siya ang isa sa mga famous Filipino artist nga nagagamit og touch of expressionism which is Ang iyang ginagamit kay using geometric shapes and strong colors like mga black siguro ang mga colors na anak kay strong colors man. So napo diri si Onib Olmedo no nga, which is isa po siya sa mga sikat nga mga Filipino artist diri sa Philippines nga nagagamit og touch of expressionism nga key art movements. So ang iyang ginagamit daw nga mga nga touch of expressionism kay mga darker shades nga ana to portray deeper feelings. So that's it. Mao ni siya sa expressionism, sa realism, sa romanticism, sa neoclassicism, and baroque. So naapay daghang key movement sa kung ano nga kanang na-adapt diri sa Philippines aside from baroque, neoclassicism, romanticism, and realism, plus tapos yung expressionism. So the rest nga katong mga wala na ko na discuss is i-discuss ni siya sa akong kauban. So that's it for my report and thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Princess Ria Islita Maya and today I will be talking you about the art movement, which is the Cubism, Impressionism, Social Realism, Surrealism, and Figurative art. So the first art movement in my report is Cubism. Cubism is an art movement that started around 1997, made famous by Pablo Picasso, which utilized the use of figures like cubes, cones, and cylinders to depict everything in nature. Vicente Mansala created transparent cubism, where the human figure remained intact while the background or the environment was still depicted in the cubic figures. So Cubism. Cubism started in early 90s and became famous through Pablo Picasso. This style uses geometric shapes like cubes, cones, and cylinders to show people and objects. Instead of painting things realistically, Cubist artists break them into parts. In the Philippines, Vicente Mansala became known for transparent cubism, where the human figures remains clear while the background is shown in cube-like forms. So let's proceed to Impressionism. So Impressionism, this art movement been famous in 19 CE with artists like Clock of France. This movement was concerned with capturing the impression of light and objects and scenery, with artists like Emilio Aguilar, Cruz, and Andres Cristobal being known Filipino artists of this movement. So Impressionism. Impressionism became popular in 19th century. Instead of focusing on small details, Impressionists include Emilio Aguilar Cruz and Andres Cristobal. Next is Surrealism. So, Surrealism made famous in 1920s by artists like Salvador Dali. This art movement aimed to depict the subconscious of the artist. Galo Ocampo is an artist of this movement. So Surrealism began in the 1920s and made famous by artists like Salvador Dali. This movement focuses on dreams, imaginations, and the subconscious mind. Surrealist paintings often look unusual or dreamlike. One Filipino artist known for surrealism is Galo Ocampo. Next is the social realism. So for the fourth movement is the social realism, a broad description in different artworks whose themes spew biting commentaries on socio-political issues of the country, aim to affect social change through socio-political pieces. In late 18th revolutionary period, and then again in the first quarter storm in the 1970s, which is on martial law. Art for the moved people, the massa, collective experience that a great number could relate to. So social realism. Social realism talks about the real problems of society. These artworks show political issues, poverty, and the struggle of ordinary people. This movement became strong during late 18th and again during martial law in 1970s. It considered art for the people because many can relate to its themes and messages. So next, we have the last one is the figurative art. Figurative art is one of the most popular movements as figurative art is representational. Me is derived from the real object sources early early figurative art in the Philippines mostly realistic and classical, but in modern times, surreal depictions of human figures and conditions intended figurative art. So figurative art is one of the most popular movement because it shows real life objects, especially human figures. Early figurative art in the Philippines was very realistically and classical, but modern figurative art now includes creative, expressive, and even surreal ways of showing people and their experiences. So that ends my report on the art movement from Cubism to figurative art. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm the reporter of the Philippine art movements, and I'm going to tackling the conceptual art, pop, pop local art, and regionalism. So, conceptual art. In this movement, the idea is more important than the object and encompasses site-specific and installations, three-dimensional assemblage of discards and non-art elements, performance and video art. Some of the works are ephemeral or temporary and therefore requires documentation. So, in this conceptual art, this type of art focuses on the message or concept more than how the artwork looks. Artists may use objects, videos, performances, or installations. Some works disappears after some time, so artists record them through photos or video. So in short, this conceptual art is more focused on the meaning. It matters the meaning more than the materials. So that is the conceptual art. So next, pop art. Pop art, means that it uses bright colors and simple images that look familiar. Pop artists wanted to show that even ordinary objects can be art. So it means that art that looks like pop culture, colorful, and eye-catching. Next, pop, surreal, and logro art. So this pop, surreal, and logro art, this movement mixes comic style, drawings, street arts, tattoos, and alternative culture. The artworks often look strange, imaginative, or dreamy. Many young Filipino artists explore this style, include using graffiti spray paint. So it means that pop surreal and logo art, this means that creative cartoon-like art with a surreal feel. Next, regionalism. Regionalism shows that everyday life of people in a certain place, especially in rural country or countryside areas. It highlights what make a region special: culture, environment, and lifestyle. It helps people appreciate their community. That's it, the regionalisms. In short, this meaning that regionalism art that shows life and culture in your rural area. And I believe that that's it, my discussion. Thank you.
Hello everyone, so my topic for today, it's all about late 19th century and 20th century precursors. So first up, in this topic, we're gonna tackle about famous painters and sculptors during this period. So first up is Juan Sanson, or also known as Tandang Juan Shaw. He worked during Spanish colonial era. So there is his paintings and sculptures during his time and his works rather. So his painting style is heavily depicted figures rendered with stiff lines, pure colorations, and symbolic perspectives like what you see, and stylized human figures, just like that. And his sculptures are Yellow Crucifixion and Kristong Pagkabuhay. Next is Juan Luna. Juan Luna is the most important Filipino painters and national heroes. He was also part of the propaganda movement, and he became internationally recognized for his paintings Polarium, which won a gold medal in Madrid in 1884. So he was part of a propaganda movement also. That's why he's very important, and next generation should know his name and why he's a part of our national heroes. Next is Felix Hidalgo, a world-class Filipino painter during the Spanish colonial period. So his sculptures or work is Las Virginias Cristianas Expuestas as Popolacho. That's very long again. Las Virgines Cristianas Expuestas al Popolacho, and this work won silver medal in Madrid Exposition 1884. So his painting style is Romanticism, Realism, and Surrealism. And next is Fabian de la Rosa, 1869 and 1937. His pet name, or also known is Don Fabian, known as the father of modern Philippine painting. Yes, he is the father of modern Philippine painting. And his sculpture or his work is a woman working in a rice field. This is his famous work. And his painting style is kind of like mix of realism, surrealism, and a soft lightning in a calm mood in his paintings. And lastly, Fernando Amorsolo, 1892 and 1972. He is the first national artist of the Philippines in visual arts and one of the most celebrated Filipino painters. So his example or his famous work is Planting Rice with Mayon Volcano. His style in painting is bright sunlight, rural scenery, and some kind realistic also in details and exposure also of his artwork and sculptures. So I think that's all of my report. Thank you everyone for your participation and listening. Thank you. Once again, thank you and God bless.
Hello everyone, good day. I am Lovely M. Manzanares and I am the last discussant, and I am going to discuss about the modern Filipino artist and post-Filipino artist. So first, I am going to explain or discuss about the characteristics of each movement, then of course explain the artist one by one. So I hope you find my discussion informative. So allow me to read the modern Filipino artist. So Filipino modern artists have more freedom to explore. They show their love for the country and evolving culture. So we all know that here in the Philippines, we have a lot of different culture. So each culture have different arts on how they're going to express arts. So we all know that art is everywhere and everyone express or see arts differently. So here in Philippines, style comes from cross-cultural exposure from Eastern and Western world mixed with their Filipino roots. Many use color to convey emotion rather than intellectual values. So many people use colors to express their emotion through art. Got that? So that is the modern Filipino artist.
Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So we have the Filipino artist and modern Filipino artist is Jose T. Hoya.
So allow me to read. Jose Pijoya is a national artist for visual arts in 2003, a Filipino abstract expressionist. So Jose Pijoya is known for he is a Filipino abstract expressionist, meaning he uses bold strokes and texture and also colors to express his idea through arts and show realistic image sa iyang art. So, as you can see in the picture, so that is the artwork of Jose de Tijoya. Okay, in the third slide, we have Hernando Ruiz Ocampo, known for HR Ocampo. He was known as creating of biomorphic shapes, as you can see in his artwork in the slides that his artwork is more about the biomorphic shapes or abstract forms that looks alive and organic. His works are vibrant and symbolic, reflecting Filipino life, energy, and imagination. So, as you can see in the pictures, that H.R. Ocampo's artwork symbolizes or influence into Filipino life, energy, and imagination. So next we have Arturo Luz. So Arturo Luz created artworks that are minimalist and geometric. He's known for very clean lines and elegant simplicity, often inspired by the Filipino culture, festival, and movements. So, as you can see in the picture, very obvious that it is talk or it is influenced or inspired by the Filipino culture. As I said earlier, that Filipino culture, we have lots of culture and different culture in the Philippines, and also the festivals and movements. So let's move on to the postmodern Filipino artist. So the postmodern movement emerged to contradict or reject some of modernism aspect of modernism. Postmodern artists believe they don't need to create something entirely new. They can borrow, mix, and combine existing styles, symbols, or ideas. This movement is also connected with the deconstruction of meaning and showing the disillusionment or complicities of life. So in short, postmodern movement is more experimental, mixed, and often challenges traditional life or traditional ideas. Okay, so here in the picture we have Ian Kirante. So Ian Kirante is known for combining pop culture, humor, and social commentary in his artwork. His work often critique modern society. So finally, we are in the last slide of the presentation. So allow me to read. First, we have Rocky Kahigan. Second, Ang Kiok. Third, Lino Severino. And the last one is Shavrito Bitanga. So first, I am going to read or discuss or explain about Rocky Kahigan. So Rocky Kahigan explore indigenous identity, colonial influences, and cultural mixing. His artworks often question how culture changes over time. And the second, we have Ang Kyok. Although sometimes seen as modern meaning of Ang Kyok, his work carry postmodern qualities. They are expressive, distorted, and emotional. He is famous for cubism, expressionism, and surrealism, often showing intense feelings like suffering or conflict. And third, we have Lino Severino. Lino Severino creates mixed media artworks that often recycle or repurpose old materials, which reflects the postmodern practice of borrowing and reusing ideas. And the last one, we have Charito Bitanga. Charito Bitanga is known for experimental styles combining modern and traditional techniques. His works often deal with abstraction and cultural themes. So